What's going on, people, and welcome to the video. Got myself a little microphone, so hopefully you should be able to hear me a bit better when I'm doing these voiceovers. Anyway, we've been open, what, 3 weeks? You should all have been back to your gym. This is Fitness Works Album, as you can see. Hopefully a lot of you have gone back to your gyms. Hopefully a lot of you are back in the full swing of training and nutrition. What I wanted to talk to you about today is staying in shape, or staying lean and getting stronger, which is possible. Unfortunately, a lot of us, what we do, we fall into the cycle of bulking and cutting, when really the truth of the matter is you're just being a lazy you just want to eat all winter, because you shouldn't really have to consume your foods from bad sources and say, I'm bulking, bro. You're not. You're just being lazy and you just want to eat rubbish. So I thought I would say how I'm doing it, because this is the first time that I'm actually going to fall into the right trap, and that means that I'm going to totally change my training and my nutrition during this off season, or what do you call it, during this improvement phase, because your body isn't very good at building muscle when you're fat, when you have a high amount of body fat, adipose tissue, is it maybe? Your body isn't very good at creating muscle when you're in that stage, or when your body is like that. So by staying lean, you're going to, one, look bigger, and two, you're actually going to build more lean tissue, which is obviously, that is the aim of this whole process, right? The idea isn't to gain as much body fat as possible. The idea is to gain as much muscle as possible. So I finished my diet probably 5 weeks ago, and this is what I look like. Granted, I'm not the leanest, I never wanted to be, but I'm a lot leaner and I'm in a lot better shape than I was previously, before that 12-week phase that I've just completed. Now this is 5 weeks later, so yeah, I'm a little softer, but haven't really gained that much body fat. I'm actually only about 2 kilos up on where we left back then, and I've had a stag do, which was boozy, and I've had a few nights out with friends, because obviously restaurants are now open, we now can go out for meals. So my nutrition hasn't been ideal, but 9 times out of 10 my nutrition is pretty spot on. During the weeks I've been spot on. I've still managed to hit my mileage on my bike. My training has totally changed, and what I mean by that is that I now no longer chase numbers on barbells and dumbbells. I still think there's a place for that, but my goal right now is longevity and to be able to lift when I'm 50, 60 years old. I carried on squatting and 1 rep maxing and being a powerlifter, I'd have more than likely been in a wheelchair by the time I was 40 than being under a bar by the time I was 40. So for me now, goals have changed. I don't see myself getting on stage anytime soon, but I also don't see myself being in a powerlifting competition anytime soon. So I'm probably more relatable to you lot currently. Your goals are that majority of you doing this to be better in life. The majority of us are doing this so we look good on the beach. We've had a very hot last few days. Probably a few of you now are looking in the mirror, or when you're in the garden, or when you're at the sea, or at the beach, or when you went to a friend's house, thinking, do you know what? I've actually put on quite a lot of fat this lockdown. It's for you. Number one, if you're in that position, I don't believe you should be looking at putting on lots of muscle. I don't think you should be going in a bulk or growing season. I don't think you should be concentrating on doing bicep curls. I don't think you should be doing any of that. I think what you should do is be concentrating on cutting down some of your body fat and bringing your levels down, so you're in a better place to then go into this phase. But how am I going to do it? One, obviously I'm still working with my coach, which is sweet. I'll probably work with him for a long period of time now. But number two is that I'll take slow steps. So there's always more than one way to skin a cat, right? Number one to put weight on is eat a load. Number two is to do it a bit slower and a bit more controlled, and that's what I think some of us need to learn, is the control. Granted, it's took me a long time to do that, but now I feel that I will be in a better place come January, February, March time, when I want to look good when it's hot outside, and hopefully we're not locked in because of coronavirus. Slow and steady. Slow increases on a weekly basis. Adding this much food each week, not this much food this week. Eating whole foods, not eating processed quick foods. Eating foods I enjoy, but foods which are going to replenish my body, that are going to give me the energy for being a boss, or for being a business owner, or for being a bodybuilder, or for being whatever I'm doing at the time. Where really what I am doing at the moment is bodybuilding. It's true. It's because I enjoy that aspect. I didn't enjoy the CrossFit. I enjoy powerlifting. I enjoy bodybuilding. So I think bodybuilding is the one thing that makes you look great. CrossFit didn't do it for me. Powerlifting made me look like most powerlifters, which is a that's not really the look I'm going for. Powerlifters, they're just powerlifters, right? They're a bit bigger, they've got higher body fat, and it's not the look I was really going for. It's not something I could see myself doing for a long period of time if I wanted to stay out of a coffin. Find out what your maintenance is, find out what your baseline is, then increase it accordingly weekly. Monitor your weight. Yes, this video is for guys and can be for girls, but for guys, our weight is generally more stable on a monthly basis, yearly basis, weekly basis. So regular stepping on the scales is a good way to indicate if you're going in the right direction or you're going too fast. If one week you stand on the scales and you put 7 pounds on, you probably know that you've got your foot on the gas too much, so take it off and reduce the amount of food you're eating. Likewise, if you're dropping weight, then you know you need to increase it. So take weekly photos. I have a check-in every week, I take my photos. I have clients, online clients and in-house clients, which we do photos on a weekly basis, bi-weekly basis, just so we can get the right amount of feedback. Number 2 is training, which I think is one of the most important. I have now gone away from barbells, like I mentioned at the start of this video, and I've gone into a lot more machine work. That is because of longevity, and that is because my goal is to build a better physique. I want to have a bigger and better physique, and I don't think I'm going to do, I could do it with a barbell, and I have done it with a barbell, but I've never had a phase where I've just been on machines. I've never had a phase where I've done leg presses, where I've done iso pull downs. I've done a lot of barbell work. I've never done shoulder press machines, chest press machines. I've never chased huge amount of weights on machines, and like I said to my coach the other week, it's quite cool. I've never really tracked and logged progression on a Watson chest press. I've never really tracked and monitored progression on a lat pull down or a leg press or the hack squat or the bout squat. It's cool to go into a session and have to beat those each week, because then your whole session becomes a little battle. It's not just your first exercise, which is your main exercise. It's not just your first squat, bench, deadlift. It's every single exercise throughout the whole workout, which is absolutely taxing on your body, and then is going to increase your output. That's where your body fat will stay lower too. So you can increase your input via food, and if you're training hard, your output will be high too, which is going to complement each other. You're not going to get too fat, but we can eat a lot of food. Because granted, I know all year round we don't want to eat minimal food, we don't want to be starving, we don't want to be in a deficit all year round, which is not good for you really-ish. Well, probably it's alright, I'm not sure, but I'm just guessing it's not good for you. It's not good for you mentally anyway, I'd say that. Making sure I'm tracking every lift. Making sure I'm basing a lot of my movements around machines and movements which aren't going to injure me, like deadlifts. I don't really need to deadlift from the floor anymore, so I've been doing rack pulls. I don't really need to do flat bench press so much, so I've been doing more neutral press dumbbells. I've been doing a lot more of the Watson chest press machine instead of barbell chest press. Or then I've also been doing banded Smith machine pin presses and banded Smith machine shoulder presses and all sorts of different cool things with bands, because then it takes the inertia out the bottom, which obviously goes through your joints. And I've had shoulder surgery before, and having lots of barbells and going for it can knack your shoulder. So by having a band, it also gives you a lot of overload. So at the bottom where you're weakest, there's a lot of weight off you, but then as you come up, it's always getting heavier throughout the movement. So your triceps, your chest have to work harder as we come to lockout. So that's another cool way. So there's different ways of creating stimulus throughout your session, which doesn't always have to involve adding the bar. We don't always need to keep slapping 20s on. Watched a video earlier about James Hollingshead. Can't pronounce his second name. Anyway, said that a lot of people now are just chasing plates on a machine, which is true. But some of these machines are designed to take a lot of the weight, because where the angle of the joint is, it takes a lot of your weight. So you don't necessarily see a direct correlation from bench press to machine. They're two totally different kind of movements and two totally different ranges of motion. And then finally, which I probably will keep in and I have kept in for the last 5 weeks, is cardio. If you follow me on socials, you'll know that I do a lot of road cycling. Recently hasn't been ideal because of some of the weather. Last week was probably too hot, but still went out. But trying to get in cardio every week, because say you go out on a bike ride with 40 kilometers, 30 kilometers, 50 kilometers, 20 miles, whatever you work in, that's a good 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, even 1,000 calories sometimes. You get on the Stairmaster, 500 calories. You go out for a long walk, a few hundred calories, keeping your step count high too, increasing your output, which means that you can have more input. without collecting it round your midsection and becoming fat. Then they're my 3 tips. Build up slowly, progress on all your lifts. Maybe sometimes stay away from the big 3 all the time, especially if it's body composition and bodybuilding that you want to improve, because quite a lot of us aren't actually very good at doing barbell work. I'm not, I don't know, I think I might be good, but sometimes we're not. So sometimes using some of the machines can actually progress your lifts a lot better and can actually help progress your barbell lifts because of range of motion and technique. If you've not got anyone to look over you and give you pointers, then sometimes going on a machine, loading up YouTube, going on some of the bodybuilders forums, you can realise that you're not actually doing it right, and you can learn the ways to do it properly. I hope that makes sense. If you haven't, please hit the thumbs up, please subscribe, please share this video if you'd like, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.